All right, let's just get this right out of the way right off the top. The combat in Silent Hill F is awkward, sometimes even clumsy, frustrating. But that's kind of the point. You're not Nathan Drake swinging across cliffs with like Olympic stamina. You're a teenage Japanese girl trying to swing a rusted out pipe that's almost as heavy as you are. Of course, it's not going to feel smooth. Of course, you're going to miss. You're going to miss swings. You're going to feel like every encounter is like a desperate struggle. I mean, I picture my 13-year-old daughter. If she used to pick up like a heavy lead pipe and try to swing it at a monster, she's going to struggle with it. That's survival horror. That's Silent Hill. And if you can get that through your head early, then the game becomes not just playable, it becomes deeply enjoyable, in my opinion. So that's my early review of Silent Hill F, one of the games on my Halloween playlist for 2025. Now, Konami did send me a Steam code for a review, but long story short, my studio PC is in the middle of being swapped out. So instead of waiting around, I just went out and picked up a physical copy on the PS5, and I dove in on the PS5. And honestly, I'm glad I did, because there's something about like putting a disc into the console that feels right for Silent Hill, like the original Silent Hill back in the PlayStation, or Silent Hill 2 on the PlayStation 2, etc. You know, like it just feels right. Now, I'll be honest, nothing in Silent Hill F has hit me with the same sort of emotional weight as last year's Silent Hill 2 remake. That was an absolute masterpiece. For me, anyway, it was a game that I'd only barely touched back in the day, and finally experiencing it in full was like almost haunting. Pyramid Head, ooh, the storyline, oh my gosh, it was so good. The oppressive like melancholy of the town of Silent Hill, all of that, it just made my skin crawl. And it stayed there with me. Like I think about a lot of scenes in that game on a regular basis. Being in the town of Silent Hill, it's beautiful. There's nothing like it. And you know, growing up on the East Coast in the United States, like a lot of towns like kind of have that look and feel to them. And so it really hit home for me. Now, Silent Hill F is a very different beast. It's not trying to retread Silent Hill 2's ground here. Instead, it's taking us to 1960s Japan, a rural town that I think is called Ibisugaoka. I know I'm butchering that name. I apologize to my Japanese friends. Sorry about that. But this game filters the horror through like a completely different cultural lens. This is where it both shines and stumbles in parts. You know, on the one hand, the Japanese folklore influences, the creepy school setting, the strange fungus-like imagery, give it all a really unique identity. But on the other hand, it doesn't always hit the same deeply personal, emotional notes that Silent Hill 2 did. The ambiance is different here. Yes, I prefer the ambiance of Silent Hill 2, but here the game absolutely nails its atmosphere. From the second you step into the fog-drenched streets, you know you're in a Silent Hill game, but it's just like one you haven't seen before. The use of color, the twisted monster designs here, the sounds that are creeping out of the corners, it's gorgeous in a deeply like unsettling way, as any good survival horror game should be. They really managed to make the game feel like Silent Hill, even though it's not set in the franchise's iconic American town of Silent Hill. The story is one of the game's strongest elements, I must say. It's also one of the heaviest. I mean, you play as Hinako, a high school girl, burdened not just by the usual like teenage pressures that every teenager goes through, but like by some real trauma. I mean, abusive household, alcoholic father, a crushing weight of like all of the societal expectations on her in the 1960s. These aren't just like background details. They actually inform the entire atmosphere of the game, which is pretty cool. The monsters aren't random either. They're actually like I guess the best way to say it is like they're like sort of like symbolic extensions of her pain, you know, like of her shame, of her fear. So they're like kind of manifest. They're like manifest versions of all of that. Imagine if like alcoholism was a monster and you could see what they're going for here. Like imagine a monster being like this alcoholic father, and you know, it's pretty interesting. Anyway, that's something that Silent Hill F does very well here. Like the best entries in the series, it uses horror as a mirror for like human suffering. It's not just gory to be gory or creepy to be creepy. It has like an emotional sort of psychological resonance in a way. So, but it doesn't always land. It doesn't always land with the same devastating impact as Silent Hill 2. It's still a story, though, that's worth experiencing, even if it makes you uncomfortable. It's pretty darn good, I will admit. And then there's the combat, okay? Look, I'll be real with you. The stamina management, the weapon degradation, the sheer clunkiness of it all, it can get frustrating. It might be a bit of a turnoff for some people. I get it. Sometimes you're just trying to swing a pipe and it feels like you're like, I don't know, like you're dragging an anchor on the floor. You're like, you know, sometimes you dodge like a split second late. It costs you everything. I'll admit, even like the Silent Hill 2 remake took some getting used to. Like, you're not Nathan Drake. Again, you're like a guy in a members only jacket. And I got my ass kicked quite a bit in that game. If I took 2 or 3 hits, like I was dead. It did take me a while to kind of really learn how to get, how to use the dodge system. Just dodge, just get out of the way. And this game kind of takes that to a whole nother level. Also, I think what's interesting about this game is like you can avoid enemies. Like, you don't have to go face to face, toe to toe with these things. Like, you can be stealthy and kind of just hide from them, get away from them like any teenage girl would. But weirdly, even with all that being said about the combat and everything, I wouldn't want it to be any other way because, again, you're not a soldier. You're not a superhero. You're not Kratos, in God of War. You're a scared teenage girl who can barely lift the tools that she's holding. So under that umbrella, then they kind of nail it with this. I mean, that's the horror of it all. That's the frustration. It's the part of the charm. It forces you to think differently about encounters. Your stamina is going to run out. You want to avoid fights when you can, conserve your resources, play cautiously. And when you do manage to win, it feels like a small miracle. Now, on the PS5, the game runs pretty well. I've read about some PC issues. There always seems to be PC issues lately, right? Just about every darn game these days has issues on the PC. I don't know what's going on. But if you turn off, like on the PC, if you turn off motion blur, the whole screen kind of shrinks and there's kind of bugs out, has some problems. I don't know. But on console, I haven't run into anything that ruined the experience. Again, your mileage may vary. I encourage you to watch like Digital Foundry for a deeper dive on all of that. I just like playing games, as long as it's not compromised experience, then I'm good to go. As long as the visuals look great. And they really nail it here. The visuals look striking. They look beautiful, crisp, sharp. The Unreal Engine 5, it's obvious that they're using it, but it actually runs beautifully. There's been quite a few games over the past year that have had all sorts of compromises and caveats. That doesn't appear to be the case here at all, in my experience anyway. Really clean, sharp visuals, stable performance, really nice, like lighting effects, and it's like subtle. It's not like overbearing in a lot of ways. Looks really great. All around, the visuals are great. It looks and feels like a modern game, but it still has that heart and soul of like an old school survival horror game. So a part of why I'm enjoying Silent Hill F so much is because when I'm playing it, this is a perfect October game. Creepy atmosphere, oppressive sound design. It's a great, we just started fall, right? It's great for this time of year. A story that kind of drags you into this darkness. It's tailor-made for spooky season right now. And now it might not be my game of the year, but it's already set the tone for my Halloween 2025, the games that I wanted to play for 2025 Halloween time. So here's where I land on all of this. Silent Hill F is a solid 7 out of 10 game for me. And I say that, though, as a compliment. Not everything needs to be a flawless, like world-shattering 10 out of 10. Most of the movies I grew up loving were 7 out of 10. A lot of games that stuck with me over the years are 7 out of 10 games because those are the ones that take risks. They're messy, they're a little rough around the edges sometimes, they're a little frustrating, but they're memorable, kind of stick with me. So this game is a risk. It's not safe. It doesn't play like every other action horror title out there. It stumbles. Yes, it also dares you to be something different. Try something new, and I'll take more of those types of games any day of the week. Give me more 7 out of 10 games. Give me more games that sort of swing for the fences and sometimes miss because the damn lead pipe is so heavy and you can't quite do it. Because even when they miss, a game that takes a risk like this, they often give us something worth talking about. And I think there's some really interesting story beats here that are pretty interesting. So Silent Hill F may not have the staying power of Silent Hill 2, the remake, but it's definitely carved out its own space. It's unsettling, it's imperfect, and brave enough to try. And I really wanted to keep going with this game. I just wanted to keep exploring and see where the story progresses. And obviously, to me, that's the mark of a good game. Do I want to come back to it and continue to play it? So I'll ask you guys, let me know down in the comments below. Are you going to buy Silent Hill F? Are you already playing it? Are you looking forward to it? I try to read every one of your comments, so please leave me a comment. And by the way, Thank you for subscribing. I can't believe we just hit 75,000 subscribers here on my little gaming channel. So thank you for subscribing and being a part of this community. I just love talking about games, and it's a break from the crazy world that we live in right now, right? It's a pure escapism. So thank you guys for subscribing. Spooky season has officially kicked off, and we'll see you real soon.